Fishing is fun, but hooking is the only way. We're gonna show you how to catch some fish today.
So hey guys, this report is for August 3rd, and I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I've been in the fishing industry for close to 30 years now, and when I do these reports, I get a lot of information from me being on the water 3 to 4 times a week, friends that are fishing, and a lot of local guides. I've helped a lot of local guides get their feet on the ground, and you know, a lot of them out there, and they're doing it full time. So all this information I'm getting to you is current, so you could actually go out and do what we're doing. First thing, ocean. It's been on fire still. It's been good for the last couple months, getting nothing but good reports from Ricky Acosta, some friends of mine, Yuri, they were out there, Adrian. A lot of guys are going out there. A lot of people come in the shop. We're catching a lot of fish. Most of the guys are all trolling. They're using a lot of 2.5 pound balls or downrigger. I was out there a couple weeks ago and we were catching them on a downrigger at 80 to 100 feet. But I noticed that when the guys are fishing more toward the Fairlawns and Pacifica, they're getting them a little bit shallower in 30 to 40 feet. So watch your graph and look where the bait is, and then, you know, put your bait down there. And the best thing that's been working has been the tray anchovies. And you don't need a flasher or a dodger. You can, some days they like it, so I usually have a couple with and a couple without, and then whatever they start biting, that's what's been good. Halibut, you know, when the tides are slow, the north bar has been really good, and they're even catching some in the bay, you know, when the tides are right. Anchovies are the preferred bait. And most of the time drifting, you know, with live, and I heard on the north bar, you get in about 30 to 40 feet of water and it shouldn't take you too long to limit out. A friend of mine, Yuri, was out there and he caught a limit of salmon. He actually went out after albacore. That's another thing that's hot right now. Well, it's starting. I would definitely watch the currents and see how far out you have to go. Adrian went last week and he traveled 60 miles out of Fort Bragg, caught 3 albacore, and he hooked a marlin. So watch that water temperature and see which way it's going. So if it's drifting outward, I would not go. If it's coming in, then it's doable. Yuri went out of San Francisco and he went 70 miles. And it looked like he only caught 1, but on the way back he limited on salmon. And he also caught a white sea bass over by Pacifica. So sea bass, they might start catching them inside. So the saltwater action, rock fishing is always good. Most of the time you probably have to go on your own boat, because I don't know if a lot of charters are going after them yet because the salmon's been so good. So all the fishing out in the ocean and the bay has seemed to be pretty good. Coming inward, the delta. What's got me baffled is those stripers. They're still thick from Collinsville in, and there's still a lot of good fish in the system. They're catching them trolling shallow, running the Ozuris and on the west bank in like 6 to 8 feet of water. Friends of mine are still catching them, throwing fish traps and, you know, any of the 5-inch plastic swim baits or topwater. Matter of fact, around the Liberty Prospect area. The water temperature is 77 degrees and those stripers are still in there, which normally they would be out of there already. But there must be abundance of food to keep them in there, so you know that's worth a try also. Then salmon. There's so many salmon out in the ocean this year. For the last 2 months it's been red hot since the opening day that it started. And in the Sacramento River, the water's 77 degrees and a bunch of big group of salmon already headed up the river. American River, they're releasing a lot of water, so the water temperature is about 64 degrees. So what's happening is that big group of salmon came up the river, went up the Sac, hit the American River, and when they're coming up the Sac, they're suspended. So in other words, they're just traveling point A to point B, and they're in the middle of the water column. So they're hard to catch. But when they hit the American, they hit that cool water, which is almost over 10 degrees cooler, They settle down there, mill around, they'll go down to the bottom, and they're catchable. But there's been a ton of boats there because that's the #1 spot.
Alan chasing it down.
What were you doing today, Bob?
Jigging at the mouth with Alan.
Yeah, what do you got?
Probably a 20-pound.
Yeah, nice.
Got him on a jig. Yeah, it is a beautiful fish.
The Feather River at the mouth, they're not dumping any water, so the water temperature is still warm. So it's always worth going, if you want to fish locally, to go to the mouth of the American, and 9 o'clock you might as well go home. And what I've seen is that a lot of times guys will go and then they don't do any good, and they kind of give up, and then the next couple of days there's only like a third of the boats and they get into them. So boat traffic probably spooks them a little bit. I've been going there a couple times, and when I went there was a lot of boats, but I also saw a lot of fish rolling. I went up the American about 3 miles up, and I was up there and they were rolling all around me, but I couldn't get anything to bite. So there's good days and bad days on those. If we get a rain or we get a cooling to where the river temperature will drop a little, then the fishing will be picking up, and then you'll be able to catch them anywhere in the Sacramento River, because there's so many out in the ocean still, and they will be coming in pretty soon. Up in the Feather, I hear there's a lot of fish starting to show up in the Feather. I think that big run initially that was up by the Mouth American has made its way up to the Feather already, and the water temperatures are in the 70 degrees up there. It's not cooler, they're not dumping any water. So a lot of guys are seeing fish rolling. They look like they're fresh run fish, but they won't bite. So just, you know, we need a weather change. As soon as we get some weather change, starts cooling off, and they start releasing a little water, I think the action will pick up. The bass bite down in the Delta has been really good. If you watch my video this last Monday, I did a frogging video. You know, I was in a pond, and then I went down to the Delta, and actually like the third cast I missed a giant one. He jumped on it, pulled the frog down, and I just missed him, but I saw the fish and he was really big. Oh! You see that one? Oh my God, that was a monster. Oh, jeez. That was. But watch that video if you want to learn a lot about frogging. Chatterbaits for bass, Sinkles, flipping. I'm going to do a punching video here in the next couple of weeks, so watch out for those videos if you want to learn about bass fishing. Caught this punching the mats, and I had very good success today. I should have had about 5 of these guys. The bass bite in the lakes, berryessa has been good. Folsom, somewhere close, has been really good. So a lot of fish in the 2 to 3 pound range are being caught, a lot of spots. Camp Far West has been really good, but the fish are a little bit smaller. In all the other lakes, berryessa, Paganelli has been fishing up there and catching them on top water and drop shotting in 25 feet of water. Pardee's good. I was up there a few weeks ago, and friends of mine were up there bass fishing, and they are also doing good. So I think you can catch bass anywhere you go locally in the lakes around here. Kokanee fishing. Still red hot at Stampede, but you gotta know what you're doing. A lot of guys are having a little difficulty catching them, where before they could go out and catch them. But lately it's been a little bit tougher. So the key thing is being in the right depth. So you gotta be down there 70 to 80 feet of water, and you gotta remember, when you go down that deep, you gotta use darker colors. So pinks don't work as well. Go to the green, go to the purples, and you'll catch more fish. Keep the leader short behind the dodger, and also short behind the setback when you drop it down. Put it back 10 to 15 feet, 8 foot on the behind the dodger, and drop it down in 80 feet and use purple or green, and you should have no trouble getting limits of 16-inch cokes. New Melones is still good. Big Al's been going up there. He was up there with clients. They caught limits of fish up to 17, 18 inches. Bowler's Bar, you want to catch a lot, you can get 12-inch fish there. The limit's 10 there, where it's 5 at the other lakes. So you can get 10 each, and they're catching them from the dam out to the first cove before you go in the narrows. And those fish are also deep. I heard 60 to 80 feet. So as the summer comes along, you know, those fish will start getting down deeper. And also I heard they're turning a little bit red now, so the males will start hooking first, so that's giving you a sign that those fish are getting ready to spawn. So my tackle tip for this week is about frogs. But one of the things I think is real crucial, it depends on what frog you're using. So when I'm throwing a frog and I'm walking the frog, and then one with I cut the tail a little bit shorter, I run 65 braid directly to the lure. So I tie the frog on directly to the lure. Now you're gonna see when I was fishing more open water, when I was using that frog with the little ticker tail on it, it's almost like a buzz bait. Then I like to use about a 2-foot piece of 25-pound test Yozuri fluorocarbon leader. So I use an Albacore knot to join it to the braid, and then I run that fluorocarbon to the frog. And the reason I do it is when I'm throwing that frog and throwing it out there, if I use braid right to the lure, the braid floats. So when I rip it, the frog wants to jump up. When I put that little short piece of fluorocarbon on the front, it actually sinks down. So when I rip it, the frog darts down and you get a perfect jump, just like a frog is going through the water. So that's my tip for the week. So locally, you could basically go out and catch fish anywhere. It's been pretty good. I hope I covered everything for you, and hope you guys could go out and catch fish. Leave a comment, because if it tells me, even when you hit the like, if you hit the like, it lets me know that you guys are getting some information from the videos, and hopefully you're learning something, and it cuts a lot of time trying to find somewhere to go when I'm telling you where the lakes and the rivers and the ocean are good fishing. Please hit the subscribe, because it'll definitely help my channel out. If you go to the bottom, there's a comment box. You can leave a comment, and I usually answer within 2 or 3 days. And you could ask me a comment on a video I made, you know, a month ago. I don't care. I'll answer you, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next week.
Fishing is fun, but hooking is the only way. We're gonna show you how to catch some fish today.